Hey everybody, it's Jason with the Board Game Mechanics, and today we're going to take a look at a game called The Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings is a game designed by the great Dr. Reiner Knizia. My version is published by Fantasy Flight, plays 2 to 5 players. What's this say? Is there a time on the box? I don't see a time on the box, but it's going to be a minute. I would say no less than an hour, even at 2. It's fairly long if you're going to play through all 4 of the boards. And what you're doing in this is you are taking on the role of a member of the Fellowship. So Sam, Frodo, Merry, Pippin, and Fatty. And what you're going to be doing is you are going to be traveling through the books, so Lothlorien, Moria, Helm's Deep, Shelob, Rivendell, all that kind of thing. You may get some cards from some of the elves, and then you may have to fight on one of the maps, starting in Moria, ending in Mordor, of course, because you got to throw the ring into Mount Doom. And along the way, you're going to get slapped around a whole lot. And you're just trying to throw the ring into Mount Doom before all of your party is completely corrupted by Sauron, meaning you've been eliminated from the game. Sounds brutal. The game's brutal. But let's go down the table. Check it out. Alright, so here's a game of the Lord of the Rings board game. All set up almost for 2 players. So to set up, you're going to put out this actual tracker up here. This is always used. And you're going to put one of these cones in the very starting section. In a 2-player game, you're going to be Frodo and Sam. So you'll take the appropriate cards. Frodo is the ring bearer, of course. And then you're going to put each of your people on 0 of corruption. And depending on how hard you want this to go, Sauron can be up as far as you want, but this game's impossible, so I'm going to put it back in the back. Then you're going to sort out the cards by location. So we have Rivendell, Moria, Lothlorien, Helm's Deep, Shelob's Lair, and Mordor. The Moria cards will go here because that's the first board that we're playing. Everything else will be over here waiting to get to that. Then we're going to shuffle 2 3 shields, 2 2 shields, and 2 1 shields together into a pile because they're going to represent some of these tokens here. And shuffle the event tiles. They can be on the board or wherever you want. And then get the die ready. Put a little cone here and a cone at the beginning of each of the tracks. Put out the 5 Gandalf cards over there. They can be used as a one-time game ability to help us because we're going to get slapped around. Sort out the life tokens, the heart, the sun, and the ring. And then we're ready to begin playing. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we will put this onto the board here, and we will do what this says. So each player will receive Gandalf. Each player will receive 6 Hobbit cards. So you shuffle these up, you know, just like every card game. You always shuffle cards. All right. Ring bearer, which is Frodo, may take a corruption, that's the black square, and reveal 4 Hobbit cards face up. And Frodo is going to do that because we need some cards for distribution. All right, so these are the cards that they revealed. And I think, let's look at their cards. They're not going to look at their cards because they're not going to know what Sam has. So this is what they have. They have all this stuff, and they know they're going to need a hand here later, so they'll keep that. They're going to distribute. So they want to keep this one. And they'll keep one of these, and they'll give Sam these 2. Okay? Then, the Nazgul appear. 1 player discards 2 trees. Otherwise, Sauron advances forward. So let's see what Sam has here. All right, Sam has no trees. So Frodo has 2 trees. So he will discard 2 trees. All right, now this will move because that's the end of that. Now we go to Rivendell. Receive feature cards. All right, so when we're at Rivendell, Elrond's going to give us some good stuff. So we're going to shuffle these cards, and we're going to deal them out until all the cards are gone. In a 2-player game, we remove 4 of these randomly because it gets a little tougher. All right, so we got some feature cards. All right, then we're at the council, so each player is going to pass 1 card to the player on the left, on their left. So, all right, so everybody has a handshake. Does Sam have a handshake? Frodo has a handshake, which is friendship. Sam needs to have a friendship. Okay, he does. He's going to give Frodo... He's going to pass Frodo Aragorn. And Frodo will pass Sam... this one. All right. Then they put those face down. Now, each player will discard a friendship. So this is Frodo's cards. Frodo will get rid of this one. He has a friendship. Discarded. Now we need to make sure Sam has a friendship. If he does not have a friendship, he'll have to go up a corruption, but he does, so we'll discard that. All right, good to go. Now, we advance this, and we are in Moria. And this is where the game starts playing down here. So the way this game works is, it's a card game, and effectively. And what we're trying to do is we are trying to advance on these tracks to collect life tokens, shields, which are points, effectively, but they also can be turned in to activate Gandalf. And ultimately make it to the end of this track. If we make it to the end of this track, this scenario is over. We want to do that before this event track reaches down here. So that's what we're trying to do. And the way that the game works is on our turn we're going to be able to play 1 or 2 cards. If we play 2, the cards have to be different colors. So I need to play, I could play a white one and then a gray back card. They don't have to be the same icon. They just have to be a white and a shadow card. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, Frodo goes first because he's the ring bearer. First thing we're going to do is we're going to flip an event tile. All right, so what this means is ring bearer advances 1 corruption. Done. And then I believe we have to flip another tile. We make sure. Yes, then reveal the next event tile. Then I flip another one. All right, so now Frodo is going to move up 1 on the hiding track. And because he landed on the book, he now gets this book card in his hand. Done. All right, and now it's time for him to play. So on his turn, he has a couple different kinds of cards. You notice we have some yellow cards. Let me get these other. These cards are all upside down, which is annoying. All right, so there's a couple different kinds of cards. There's white cards, white back cards, and there's gray back cards. There's also yellow back cards that can be played anytime you need to play a card on anybody's turn. But white and gray can only be played on the player's turn. All right, and they're going to correspond to any track, the appropriate track. This is wild and can be used for any track. But if you use a wild card that has multiple icons, both the icons have to be used on the same track. You can't split up the icons on a card. All right, so I think what Frodo wants to do is he wants to move up 1 on hiding. And then he's got a gray card. He'll play Sting. And he'll move up 1 there. And that will give him a shield. A 1 shield. I don't have a ton of shields, so I might have to be making change. I got this used and I ran out of shields. But, all right. And then this card is discarded. And that's Frodo's turn. Then it would be Sam's turn. Same thing. We're going to flip an event. All right, so Sam can either move up 2 corruption or we can move Sauron 1. I think Sam's going to move up. Then we'll flip another tile. All right, now Sam gets to move on the walking track. And they'll take that. And he gets one of these. And then Sam has a special power. After each die roll, suffer no more than 1 damage, which is good. And Frodo's is they can use any white card as a wild card, which is pretty nice. Now Sam gets to take his turn. And he wants to get... What do we got here? All right, so he's going to play Legolas. And then he's also going to play this one. All right, so he'll move up 2 on the tree track, which will give him a heart and a ring. And I'll explain why that's important in a minute. So he has a heart and a ring. And then he's going to move up 1 on the main event track. And he'll get a number 1 tile, but we're going to turn it into a 2. Just because I don't have enough. All right, and then these cards are discarded. And that is Sam's turn. All right. Back to Frodo. Going well so far. This is going pretty well. We're going pretty well. So Frodo's going to flip a tile. Move up 1 on this track. Frodo gets a ring. Okay. Now, put that over here. Okay, now that Frodo's going to play some cards. Let's do... Frodo's going to play Aragorn. He's going to move up on this track. So a shield and a sun. Shield and a sun. And then he can also play one more, which will do this book. And he'll move up there and get a heart. All right, and that's good for Frodo. All right, these cards are discarded. And now it is Sam's turn. So Sam will flip an event tile. All right, so this is bad. This is going to advance the thing here, and we're going to have to work as a group to accomplish this event. So we move this down. Group discard, friendship, and a wild, otherwise Sauron moves. All right, so Frodo will do... Sam will discard this one, a friendship, and Frodo will discard a wild, so we're good. But now we have to flip another event tile, because whenever an event comes bad, something comes out, you flip another one. All right, so now Sam gets to move up on friendship, which isn't a track, so nothing happens, but it's Sam's turn. All right, so Sam needs to get a sun tile. So he's going to do this one to move that one. That'll give him a shield. And then he's going to use Glamoring, and he'll move up 2 here. So another shield and a sun. So he now has 3 shields. 4 shields. All right, so he's got some shields. And now Sam's turn. These cards can be discarded. Then Frodo, flip a new tile. Nothing bad, nothing bad, nothing bad. Yes. All right, so Frodo's going to move up on exploration. He'll get a tile. That'll be a 3. And now he can take his turn. All right, so he doesn't have any gray cards, so he's just going to play this one, and he'll move boom, boom. He'll get a ring and a shield. Discard that card, and that's his turn. Before we go to Sam, you also see that Frodo has a ring. The ring bearer has a special ability that they can use. It's kind of convoluted, and I can never remember it, but let me find it here. Ring bearer. You put on the ring either after the active player reveals an event tile or after the execution of a tile. It's placed over the current ring bearer. Ring bearer rolls the die and must bear any negative consequences, and then advances the marker on any activity line by a number of spaces using the following formula. 4 spaces minus the number on the die. All right, so say for example, something bad happens. Frodo could put the ring on like this, or he's yellow. Then he'd roll the die. 1. Okay, so he'll move up 1 corruption, but he can move up on any track 4 minus the number on the die. So he would get 3 free movement on the track, which is pretty cool. That can only happen once per round. Whoever has the ring bearer. All right, so now it's Sam's turn. Sam's going to flip a tile. And... all right, so this one is... we have to get rid of a card, a life token, and a shield, or we have to advance the event marker. So Frodo will gladly get rid of that and a shield. And I will discard a card. I'm going to discard this card. So we're good. As a group, we did that. Done. Now we'll flip another one. All right, so now we have another event. Each player discards a hiding card. So Sam doesn't have any, so we're going to have to... does Frodo have any? Frodo doesn't have any either. So they both will advance 1 on the corruption, and we flip a new tile. And another event. So sometimes the events can just keep steamrolling you. Reveal 1 Hobbit card from the deck. An active player discard 2 matching card symbols to receive pipe. Otherwise Sauron moves and next event. All right, so we flip that. Frodo needs to get rid of 2 feet, which he can do. Done. All right. So we did that. Frodo's running low on cards. Flip. Okay, there we go. Moving up on feet. All right, so Frodo gets a sun. And he has no cards. So instead of actually taking a turn, what he's going to do is he will draw 2 Hobbit cards and move his Hobbit back 1 step. So he's going to go down 1 corruption and draw 2 cards because I only have 2 cards. Not something you want to do a ton of, but sometimes you need some cards. All right, back to Sam. Event tile. Yes. This goes up. Sam has to roll the die. The black square is the die. Nothing. All right. 1 in 6 chance of nothing happening, and that is great. All right. So I think what Sam's going to do is he wants to just keep moving up on the track. So 2 of these. Boom, boom. Shield. And a die. He only has to take 1 damage, so he only moves up 1. That's a special ability. And that's his turn. And back to Frodo. Event tile. Oh, yes. Tree. Frodo gets another ring. And he now gets to take his turn. He drew some good cards this time, which is helpful. So let's go ahead and end it here. We'll go there. Frodo will move up. He'll take the top. The big shield means you take the top one of these. He gets that. And then that's the end of this scenario. Scenario is over. Then what happens is, I always forget this, so let me bust out this rule here. Every player must have 1 of each of the 3 life tokens. So you saw me collecting these tokens. At the end of the scenario, either if events run out all the way to the end, or we make it to the end of the main track, you need to have 1 of each of the tokens. So we have that. We have that. Nothing bad happens. If you don't, bad things happen. You have to get more corrupt, so which is good. The player with the most ring tokens becomes the new ring bearer. If there's a tie, it just moves clockwise. So Frodo is the new ring bearer. The ring bearer draws 2 Hobbit cards from the deck and places the ring in front of them. So they get 2 Hobbit cards. Done. All right. We never got the pipe, so the pipe is out of the game. And we are done in Moria. Then what would happen is we would go to the next board, which is Lothlorien. Helm's Deep, which I think is on the back of this. So you'll take everything off, flip it over to the back. You'll move this, you'll do what's on the board, get some new cards, all that kind of thing. And you're going to keep going either till the ring is successfully thrown into Mount Doom, or one of these players hits Sauron, and Sauron just starts devouring and corrupting everybody and killing them. And that's it. So that is the Lord of the Rings, the board game. Let's go to the top, see what we think about it. All right, well, that was the Lord of the Rings. So yeah, this is a really old game. I'm not sure when it was published. It was early 2000s, I believe. Maybe late 90s. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it's not recent. This is a Reiner Knizia classic. Does it say back here? 2001. So it was published in 2001. So before we get into the game, let's talk about some of the components. Now, this is I believe it was a Hasbro game at first, but my version is Fantasy Flight. And let's look at some of these components. Look at this. This is the ring that you can put on your character when they're traveling. Like you can put your character base in it, and you know that they've won the ring. That is fantastic. The minis are just really kind of not good minis. They're all the same sculpt, but different colors. All they need to know is which color you are and how far along you are on the track, so not a big deal there. I kind of like the art of the game. Like here's the Frodo art, Sam. So it's not like based off the movies or anything, because this was before the movies, but this is just some of the cool art from the game. And the components, oh well, I forget Sauron. Look at Sauron. It's like the eye, the tower with the eye, which is awesome. Just moves down the track. All the rest of the stuff is pretty basic, like shields with some numbers, life tokens. There's a sun, a heart, and a ring. Nothing great there. Event tiles, squares with images. I mean, you know, pretty straightforward. So yeah, production's fine for an older game. The coolest thing is these boards are all dual layer. So here's Shelob's Lair. I don't know how well you can see that. And then on the back of that would be Mordor. So as you're advancing through, the boards are going to change, different events, different art, which is really cool. I think the way the game looks is pretty cool. It's up my alley with the graphic design and all that stuff. So let's talk about the gameplay. So what you saw is how this game is. That was just the first scenario, which is probably the easiest. I don't think I've ever even made it through the game. I die every single time. That's the best I've ever done in the overview, and that's surprising. So, yeah, it felt good. What you're going to do is that same kind of thing that I showed you. You're going to do that 3 more times. You're going to go to Shelob's Lair, Moria, or Mordor, and Helm's Deep. So there's Moria, Helm's Deep, Shelob's Lair, and Mordor. You're going to be doing the same kind of things, playing cards, advancing up tracks, trying to make the best of the bad events, and get the ring into Mount Doom before everybody dies. That's it. Along the way, you might get you'll get some help from some of the elves. You'll get some extra cards. You might get some good cards from the board if you can move up certain tracks. Gandalf can get called in by spinning shields. That's going to help you. He will definitely be used. I didn't use him in mine because I was actually going well. But as you go on, you're going to use all those Gandalf cards because they are powerful and you need them to survive. That is it. The ring is cool. I didn't show it to you, but I told you what it did. You put it on a person, you roll a die, you suffer some kind of penalty, but then you're going to get a move up the track 4 minus what you rolled on the die, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I like this game. Not a lot of my game group likes it because it's really hard and brutal. So I normally play it 2-player solo. I play as Sam and Frodo and just play, and it's fun to me. I don't get to play with real people, but it's a co-op, so it doesn't really matter. Same kind of feeling. The game's still slapping you around. It's just me playing by myself. So I'm going to give this a BGM Accepted Seal. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10 on BGG, which is a 3.5 out of 5 wrenches on our arbitrary wrench scale. That means absolutely nothing, but we like to give it the games that we enjoy, and that's what I'm going to do. So that is The Lord of the Rings from Dr. Reiner Knizia. My version is from Fantasy Flight. I'm Jason with the Board Game Mechanics, and as always, keep gaming.